TSM announced their earnings early today, mainly because they're in Taiwan and they release their earnings basically in the middle of the night for the United States. So I was able to read their earnings. I also listened to their earnings call and listen to their management talk about the business and see where the business is headed. In general, I've been a TSM investor for multiple years. I'm not currently an owner of TSM stock. I really like their management team because they don't really sell on their calls. They're really, it's almost like just they're very engineer like and just answer questions clearly. So I like that about them. Business is doing better than expected, and the management themselves said that they have more demand than they expected. So it's a positive surprise, so to speak. They increased their revenues by 30% in the earnings announcement, which was very good. Very good operating margins of 59%. They're good. They're not great. They're not NVIDIA or they're not like Arista Networks or uh, Astera Labs, excuse me, where they have margins 75, 80%. But the business is doing well. Their share of semiconductors, high performance computing is where we have chips going into the AI space. It's 57% of the business. It didn't grow, by the way, which I found a little surprising. Smartphones is the second category. It grew by 19%. So people are buying smartphones. Internet of Things is next. It grew 20%, although it's a small piece of their business. Automotive grew 18%. It's also small, but these are growing faster. So we'll see if they continue to show that trend. And it was surprising that high performance computing didn't grow. I thought, hey, I would have felt that created the growth, but it didn't. So that was interesting to see. Um, Now let's take a look at fundamentals, and what I'll do is value the company based on the new data I have, price the company on intrinsic value, and then compare it to its current stock price. But I like to really understand qualitatively what's the business doing. Is the business in a better economic situation or worse? And I would say that overall, TSM is in a better economic position than before they announced their earnings. The business is doing better than expected. They're getting more demand from the marketplace. And their forecast is getting more optimistic that they're seeing higher growth into the future. TSM is a $1.26 trillion market cap company. The stock is up in pre-market by 2%. So the market does like what they heard. The stock's been a winner for 2025 as well as 1 year at 58%. And it's certainly been an excellent stock to hold for a long period of time. The revenue for the company, 119 billion in revenue. They pay a small dividend, PE ratio of 30. And that's appropriate given that they are growing and really an important company in the overall scheme of things. The analysts that cover it, there's 3 analysts covering the stock. They think it's 19% discounted and it's a strong buy. When we look at their fundamentals, last quarter, they grew at 30%. Very good. Annually, they're growing at trailing 12 months, almost 37%, which is very, very good. Their margins are 59%, which is good. It's not great. It's not like NVIDIA or Broadcom or some of these other semiconductor companies, but it's very good. It's 59%. And their profitability is good. And their free cash flow margin is good as well. Their free cash flow is going to be lower than typical given the revenue amount because they're putting a lot of money back into the business. They're growing a big foundry in Arizona. They're trying to scale up for certain growth rates that they're seeing. So we should see some CapEx be put back into the business, and that CapEx takes down the free cash flow. The balance sheet's in really good shape. They have 90 billion in cash and about $30 billion in debt. So balance sheet's in great shape. 3 analysts cover the stock and they think it's 19% discounted. They're basing that on the earnings per share. And I like to use the earnings per share for the year forward, which would be 2026. And they're expecting to grow. The analysts expect that TSM is going to grow by about 16%. TSM is guiding that the next quarter they're going to grow at 22%. So 16 might be a little conservative, but that's okay. It's better to be conservative than it is to be too optimistic and then be surprised. I'm going to use probably a growth rate of 20% as I grow my free cash flows. And overall, my earnings per share is probably going to grow better than 16%. So these analysts are being conservative. It might be a little bit slow on reading and updating the guidance, or I should say, updating their forecast and their valuation because the earnings just came out today and the earnings were really positive. So I'm going to use numbers that are a little bit more optimistic than these numbers in my valuation, but understand where these analysts are coming from. So here's my valuation on TSM. Overall, I think the stock is being priced 7% too high. And this is using the most recent data that's hours old. And I updated the growth that I have on trailing 12 months free cash to the growth rate that they're seeing. I'm giving them an optimistic 25% growth on years 2, 3, and 4 for the free cash flow forecast, then growing terminal value by 4%. The discount rate I'm using is 8%, which is fairly low for an out of the US stock, but they're kind of a global company. They do business with the US, they do business with China, they do business with everyone who wants to manufacture semiconductors. So they're a little bit, you know, kind of impartial or independent of political tension between the US and China to some extent. So based on free cash flows, this stock looks really good, but it's where earnings per share is a hard number to get to because when I convert their earnings per share to dollars, and I'm only going to use a 36 PE, using a growth rate of 20%, I can only get to 68%, which is quite a bit lower than their current stock price. So having a stock that is being discounted would be ideal, but at a premium, this just wouldn't work for me. I own other semiconductor stocks that I think give me better pricing. And this one here is just going to be a good watch stock. I made terrific money on TSM. It was a big position. I tripled my money and I got out, and I'm happy with that investment. I'm also comfortable staying out of TSM. I think they're a terrific business, but will never be like an NVIDIA or a Broadcom or an Astera Labs or a company like that. I'd rather invest in those or get a business that is like a TSM, like ASML has better pricing right now. So I'm invested in ASML. So those are my comments on TSM. Now, my final overall comment, and it applies to TSM as well as other stocks, is as I look at stocks, making those qualitative decisions on a stock really are important. Qualitative being, do you believe in the business? Do you think they're going to grow? Are they going to contract? And the level of conviction, the level of accuracy you have. Now, TSM, I didn't expect they were going to grow this well because their valuation has really increased over time. Even their management in the call said several times that they've been surprised as how well the semiconductor space has been. I've been surprised. I think a lot of people have been surprised, but those that really saw the demand coming, they made a lot of money. So I tip my hat to those that saw it coming. And that's why it's really important to reach good qualitative decisions, uh, qualitative expectations on a company in a space. It's the big difference between making a lot of money and not making a lot of money. So those are the comments I would put at the tail end of TSM. So that's my evaluation of TSM. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it interesting. Would you like more access to content like this? Consider being a paid member. You get more real-time access to videos when they're published. You also get access to a Discord and many other value add benefits for investors, like access to the tools that I use when I analyze stocks. Take a look at the 4 levels that are available on the homepage of my YouTube channel. Thank you.